Imagine facing a legal battle, but worrying about expensive court fees hindering your access to justice. Did you know there's a way to potentially bypass these costs in New Jersey? Welcome to our in-depth explainer on securing a court fee waiver. Let's jump right in and break down exactly how you can navigate this process. So, can you actually get around paying court fees in New Jersey? The short answer is absolutely. The financial burden of filing a lawsuit is a very real, very intimidating barrier for so many people. But Rule 113.2 of the New Jersey Court Rules offers a massive lifeline. If you're facing financial hardship, this rule allows you to apply to have those fees completely waived. Here's our roadmap for this explainer. We're going to cover 1. The cost of justice, 2. Qualifying for a waiver, 3. The application forms, 4. Navigating the filing process, 5. Exemptions and legal aid, and finally, 6. Final tips and resources.
All right, Section 1, the cost of justice, breaking down the financial barriers.
Okay, we need to talk about a procedural trap that catches a lot of first-time applicants off guard. Under Rule 156, court clerks literally cannot file your paperwork without a fee. So you have to submit your fee waiver application concurrently, meaning at the exact same time as your lawsuit. If you don't, the clerk just stamps it received but not filed. That essentially freezes your case. The legal clock keeps ticking, and you can actually miss your strict deadline to sue. So always file them together.
Moving on to Section 2, qualifying for a waiver, the two-pronged test.
Back in 2017, the Supreme Court set up a strict mathematical test for this, and the first hurdle is your liquid assets. Basically, you cannot have more than $2,500 in spendable cash or bank accounts. But don't panic. The court knows you need to survive. So essential non-liquid assets, like a modest house or a reliable car that you need to get to work, do not count against that $2,500 limit. Now, the second hurdle is all about your income. Your household income has to fall at or below 150% of the federal poverty level, and this scales up based on your family size. For example, looking at the 2026 guidelines, a single person has an annual income limit of $23,940. But if you have a family of 4, that ceiling goes up to $49,500. If you hit both this income threshold and the asset limit we just talked about, you're objectively qualified. Let's get into Section 3, the application forms, proving your financial need. So how do you actually prove your financial need to the judge? You're going to use the fee waiver packet. The star of the show here is Form A. Think of this form as your sworn financial diary. You are legally certifying your situation under penalty of perjury, so you've got to detail every dependent, your income sources like wages or child support, and all your current assets. Now, here is a massive tip. You can't just write down your income and call it a day. You have to prove it. The court strictly requires you to attach 2 months of income documentation, like pay stubs, plus 6 months of statements for all your bank accounts. If you forget these attachments, your application is almost certainly going to face instant delays or just an outright denial. Right alongside that financial proof, you also have to submit Form B. This one is simple. It's just a proposed order. It's literally the document you want the judge to eventually sign to make your waiver official. You just fill out the top part with your case details and leave the bottom completely blank for the judge. Section 4. Navigating the filing process. Digital and paper routes. Let's walk through the exact steps you need to take. Step 1, gather up all those financial documents. Step 2, complete Forms A and B. Oh, and a vital tip here. Definitely redact personal identifiers like your full bank account numbers, because these filings become public records. Finally, Step 3, file the waiver concurrently with your lawsuit, either on paper at the courthouse or digitally. If you're going the digital route, you'll be using the Judiciary Electronic Document Submission System. We call it JEDS. When the system inevitably asks you for a fee, make sure you select the exempt payment status and then upload your forms. But watch out for a really common tech headache. JEDS has a strict 35 megabyte file limit, so double-check that your scanned bank statements aren't too massive before you try to upload them. All right, Section 5, Exemptions and Legal Aid. Who doesn't need to apply? You might be wondering if there's a shortcut, and actually, some groups do get an automatic pass. If you're being represented by Legal Services of New Jersey, a court-appointed public defender, or a certified pro bono clinic, your attorney's formal appearance automatically triggers a full fee waiver. The court figures that these legal aid groups have already vetted your finances, so there's no need to make you prove it all over again. But hey, you've got to be really careful about what this waiver actually covers. It's for filing fees and record copying fees for that specific case. That's it. It does not cover penalties, sanctions, or transcript fees. So if you ever need a court transcript for an appeal, you're going to have to submit a totally separate application for that.
And finally, Section 6, Final Tips and Resources, Securing Your Access.
Let's tackle a couple of the most frequent questions we see. Does the waiver last forever? No, it actually expires 1 year after the final judgment. Are the fees forgiven forever? Well, not always. There's a recoupment risk. If you win your lawsuit and you're awarded more than $2,000, the court can actually force you to pay those waived fees back out of your winnings. Kind of a surprising catch, right? For more support, you can reach the Legal Services of New Jersey hotline at 1-888-LSNG-LAW or just call the Superior Court Clerk at 609-421-6100. Just a quick professional note before we wrap up. This explainer is intended for informational and educational purposes only. The guidelines we've discussed today are based on current directives and are subject to change. Please always consult with a qualified legal professional for advice tailored to your specific circumstances. So if navigating some complex paperwork is the only thing standing between you and your day in court, isn't mastering this process the truest form of empowering equal justice? I absolutely think so. The legal system can be a maze, but financial barriers should never be the reason you can't defend your rights. Understanding these thresholds and getting your documents in order is exactly how you unlock those courthouse doors. Thank you so much for joining us for this explainer, and we hope this knowledge empowers you to seek the justice you deserve.